Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Julian and this is my project to read every single book that is on my to be read pile as a physical edition. I feel like I always have to clarify the physical because otherwise people assume I mean all of my ebooks as well. And at this point, I do not mean all of my ebooks as well. Maybe one day, but right now, no. It is just the physical books. Anyway, it is month 30. Can you believe it? I am amazed that we're already on month 30, but also quite pleased with myself that I have kept this up for this long, and it does seem to be working. Slowly but surely, my TBR is going down. Woohoo. So this month I started off by reading Golden Age for my book club. So this is a sort of satirical book about life in communist China. It follows this man starting off when he's a young man in a sort of like farming encampment place, and then kind of moving on throughout his life. He becomes a university professor at some stage, and I enjoyed this at first, but then it was like the joke just kind of getting repeated, and it didn't really get into the absurdity of life as much as I thought it would. It touched on it, but otherwise it was just sort of a lot of this man's obsession with sex. And pretty much everybody in my book club agreed. We all found it to be interesting, but we would have preferred it if it was a short story rather than a novel. It just kind of went on with the kind of like crude jokes for a bit too long. Like they stopped being funny and just started being slightly annoying. But it was an interesting book. A lot of this is set during the Cultural Revolution in particular, so that period of time is now in the past. Things operate very differently in China, so sort of our modern impressions of what life is like in China are very different from this time period. So yeah, it was interesting. I enjoyed that element of it, but it was not a book that I really like strongly would recommend, or that I think I would read again. Then after that, I guess I just wanted to read something good. And I had 2 reward book slots left from my reading last month that I just hadn't got around to using up. So I thought I would, read something I was very excited about, and I read Somebody Like Me by Lucy Lipinska, a ebook that I got from NetGalley. I really enjoyed this. It's about a personal companion computer, which is sort of like a robot with artificial intelligence that is created in order to serve the needs of people. So this point in time, like, they've become really common. But what is about to change is the fact that they are property. So the emancipation is coming and the main character is about to become free. She will no longer have to live with her current owner, who made her in the image of his dead wife. She will be able to choose to do whatever she wants. I don't think I can say anything more about it without spoiling it, but if you think that premise sounds intriguing, I'm pretty sure you will enjoy this book, because I found it absolutely fascinating, and it's going to be one that I actually recommend to my book club because I would love to hear what they all think of it. So thank you very much to the publisher for letting me read it. And then I finished reading Sound Effects by Julian, another book that I originally got through NetGalley, but the audiobook expired before I had the chance to finish listening to it. So I finished listening to it on Spotify, and I really enjoyed this. I've talked about it before on my channel. It is a book about sound, past, present, future, animal, cellular, interstellar, just absolutely everything you could want to know about sound. If you are interested in sound, I would highly recommend this. This expanded my knowledge in different areas considerably, and it's also really motivating. There's sections in the book that are like what you can do, which either invite you to explore the topic that's been mentioned in more detail, give you some tips for how you can make your life better using sound, and that kind of thing. Really fantastic book, and yeah, I'm very pleased to have finished it. At the moment, I am still part way through Thief of Night by Holly Black. I haven't picked that up in a while because I just haven't been like at home sitting down and like having the time to read it. I have finished books at home, but they've generally been books I've been listening to as audiobook or reading as ebook, and so yeah, I have kind of just wanted to finish what I'm currently reading. Like if I started it in the morning, like going out to work, then I'll want to finish it at home in the evening. Then so yeah, that has held me up a bit from that one. I am still partway through Happy City. I also, like yesterday, DNF'd a book. I sort of skimmed through it. I wasn't sure whether to call it a DNF or a read, but in the end I went with DNF because I don't think I read like enough of it. It was kind of a factual book. But yeah, so yeah, I've DNF'd a book. Also yesterday I started reading Honza and Rebels by Jessica Mitford, who is one of the Mitford sisters, basically the communist one of the Mitford sisters. And this is a memoir about her childhood. I read the Nancy Mitford trilogy that begins with, why can't I remember the name of the second one? The second one's Love in a Cold Climate. What is the first one called? The Pursuit of Love, that's it. It's The Pursuit of Love, Love in a Cold Climate, and Don't Tell Alfred is the third one. Yeah, so yeah, I read all of those a few years back and enjoyed them. And yeah, I haven't read very much about the Mitford sisters before. I think I have like a book about them somewhere on my TBR in the kind of the non-fiction section, but I decided to pick this up as it's a memoir, and I really enjoy having memoirs to dip in and out of. It's a big thing for me at the moment. I am really getting my way from memoirs. I don't know what I'm going to do when I run out of the ones I've got on my TBR. Like, there is a finite number. I still got quite a few left, but the end is in sight, and then I don't know what I'm going to do for like easy reads to dip in and out of. But yeah, I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to keep enjoying this. I am on page 22. So yeah, as I think I've said before, the thing I really like about memoirs is that the chapters are short, or at least the ones that I've picked out. So like this one is, like chapter 2 is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages, and like the 7th page is like that. It's not very much text on it. So yeah, they are just being really good kind of companions through life that I can dip in and out of, and I'm getting through them. So yeah, we'll see how the rest of this month goes. I really need to start reading some Christmas books to get me in the Christmas spirit, but I'm also still working through my pile of TBR books that I could listen to as audiobooks borrowed from the library. So yeah, I've got quite a big pile of those. Oh, that reminds me, I am in the middle of A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki. Really enjoying that so far. It had been a book that I'd wanted to pick up for ages, but then Rachael was talking about it on the Books on Bivald podcast, and I remembered that I had a copy. But she also talked about how much she enjoyed listening to the audiobook, so I decided I would listen to the audiobook of that. Right, I need to go get ready for bed now, so I'm going to end this update, and hopefully you will see future me from a few days' time next up. Hello! It is now the 17th of December, and I'm pleased to say that I am done with work for this year. I don't have to work again until January. Wonderful. Plenty of time for reading. And I have a couple of updates for you, and also I want to tell you about what I'm doing today. So first of all, I finished A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki. I listened to this as an audiobook, but I then had to go back through, I guess, the print copy, because at the end of the audiobook the author says something like, I recommend you look at the print book because it has footnotes and illustrations that are obviously not in the audiobook. And so I did that. Actually, a lot of the footnotes are basically where she had put in a word in Japanese and then the footnote translates it, and in the audiobook she just says the translation in most cases. She doesn't say what the Japanese is. So I think that was an interesting choice to learn about. There were only a couple of what I'd call illustrations, really. Some of them were like more sort of like typographically interesting things than like drawing. But what was in here that was not mentioned in the audiobook is several appendices explaining some of like the physics stuff in this book, because some like interesting like theoretical physics things happen. Can't really say anything more about that other than spoiling it. I really enjoyed this. It's essentially about a woman, also called Ruth, by the author, who seems to kind of be Ruth, who finds this diary by a young Japanese girl, and she ends up reading it and trying to investigate the kind of details of this girl's life to find out what happened to her, because she knows that the diary's only going to go on so long. It's really interesting, has a sort of fantastical element to it that doesn't really like take over the story, but is still interesting. Would recommend. Then I listened to the Readers of Broken Wheel recommend. This is a story about a young Swedish woman who moves to a town in the southern US and ends up starting a bookstore. It's really cute. I think a lot of book lovers will enjoy this, and I'm planning on giving it to my aunt now that I've finished reading it at the end of this month after I've done my tally, because I think she will enjoy it too, because she is a book lover. Now my camera battery is flashing and I have tried to get through this update as fast as I can, but I'm gonna put the battery on charge. But today I am in fact trying to read as much as humanly possible. I am listening to Rebel of the Sands on audiobook, which is actually a reread, so it doesn't count as either a ruled book or as a TBR book. I'm listening to that so I can read the second book, Traitor to the Throne, which is on my TBR. I have a great big physical proof copy of this, which I think I got secondhand, but yeah, it's huge. I want it off my TBR. And so I after that, I intend on reading as much as I can for the rest of the day. I hope to go to the gym later and listen to some more audiobooks then. I've only got about an hour and a half left of Rebel in the Sands, so I'm hoping that I will finish it whilst making dinner, and also finishing collaging or like decoupaging this gift box. So this is like a box which is reusable. It has like an openable lid, and so I thought if I stick some Christmas wrapping paper on it, it could become a reusable gift box. So I'm doing that. I probably won't use it this year but it will be there in my cupboard for Christmas use next year. I thought that'd be a useful thing to have. I'm trying to use up all my scraps of wrapping paper so I can have a fresh start and use brown paper that I can decorate. I just love when people do that. I've seen some really cute like gingerbread house designs this year, or just like wrapped in velvet ribbon. I think it looks so elegant and fun. So that's what I want to do going forward, and to use up all the old scraps of wrapping paper that I still have left. I'm also planning on doing some laundry. I've actually got a load on, but I have another one I want to do afterwards, and obviously I've got to hang that out, and also painting some Christmas cards. So I've got plenty of time for audiobook listening, and then when I'm not doing audiobook listening, I'm hoping to get through some print books. So I will update you on that, but now I'm going to go put the battery on charge so I can actually do those updates. Hello, it is now the 30th of December. Yes, the 30th. We have skipped ahead quite a way. I have kept meaning to post so many times, but I have just been so busy. I keep complaining to Nick, my partner, that I have not had enough time to be cosy and relax on the sofa and watch Christmas films and TV and read Christmas books. Even fitting in audiobooks has been a little bit of a struggle because my brain has just been so fried from so much socialising and travelling and But anyway, most of that is over now. So we have, where are we? 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th. We are halfway through Christmas, 6 days left, and I have quite a large Christmas TBR. So, but before we get into that, I will update you on what I have read. So that day, the day that I last did an update, I did do a lot of reading, a lot of listening. I managed to listen to a good chunk of the Moonlight Market by Joanne. This is this very lovely proof copy that I got secondhand. I really enjoyed this. It was very sort of like urban fantasy fairy tale type thing. If you like Charles de Lin, I think you will love this. I also, before going to Nick's mum's for Christmas, finished Thief of Nights, which is an urban fantasy book, but I would argue also a Christmas book in the way that Die Hard is a Christmas film. Because this takes place at Christmas. The bar where the protagonist works is having Christmas events, like hosting workplace Christmas parties. So yeah, it is kind of a Christmas book. Work with me here. But anyway, I was not expecting that. I had kind of forgotten. Although I got through it a while before. This has a bookmark in it just because there's like some French or something I wanted to translate right in the back. I have actually read the whole thing. Yeah, I had forgotten when I picked this up, after not having picked it up for a few weeks, that it was set at Christmas. So it was a pleasant surprise to discover that it is kind of a Christmas book. And then while I was at Nick's mum's, I finished reading Brother of the More Famous Jack by Barbara Trapido. I picked this up in a free book box quite recently. I was intrigued by the blurb. It's a book published in the 80s, and I'm guessing it was like set kind of contemporary to that time. It's about a young woman who gets offered a place to study at university and then becomes kind of close with the family of her one of her professors, and then she dates one of them. Some stuff happens in her life, and then she ends up getting re-entangled with the family later on, who kind of help her. And that's the premise. I read that and I was like, oh, okay, that sounds interesting. I started listening to the audiobook, found it very difficult to get into as an audiobook because there was just like so many names being thrown around and I was finding it very hard to keep track of. And so I returned the audiobook to the library and just carried on reading this in print. I have to say I did not like it very much. It feels dated even for like 1982 when it was published, just because the attitude of the characters is so sexist. The women just seem to basically exist to be love interests, essentially. Like, that's all they really do. Like, the main character, like, she has a job at one point, but I don't even know what the job was because it was that unimportant to her. And so yeah, I found that really difficult to get on with, and I kept waiting for the book to sort of redeem itself and deliver on the promise of the description, and it didn't. And it was also quite like homophobic and racist and inappropriate towards young women in places. Like, we're talking like girls and young women, like the way that even like teenage girls were presented as sex objects was just ew, and the age gaps, there's some age gap romance stuff in here which is just yuck. And all in all, I didn't like it, and I won't be reading any more books by this author, which is in some ways a great relief because, you know, sometimes I find a new author and I think, oh my god, am I going to read all of their back catalogue? Yeah, no, I'm not going to be reading the back catalogue of this, I'm done. So yeah, great relief. Then I listened to Merrily Ever After, a Christmas collection for romance readers, aka a short story collection by Catherine Walsh. This is sort of set in the world of the characters of her previous Christmas books. I have actually only read one of them because I found it really difficult to try and get hold of a library copy of the first one, Snowed In. Is it Snowed In or... No, Snowed In's the one I have read. Holiday Romance is the one I have not read. I really, really enjoyed Snowed In, but I could not find a copy of Holiday Romance. But I think I've tracked it down now. So I will just sort of listen to the whole thing in a weird, messed up order, but that's fine. So yeah, really, really enjoyed that. Great way to get into the festive mood after all of that other stuff. I think I was listening to it whilst packing up and getting ready to go away for Christmas, so that was really good. And yeah, now I have so many Christmas books to read. I mean, I have like a huge amount of Christmas books I want to read in general. Like, one of my main reasons for wanting, like one big reason for me wanting to get my TBR down is so that I have a clean slate, and that every October I can put in loads of requests at the library for Christmas books. I can get all my holds in for audiobooks. I can look at like whatever Google Play credit and stuff I have that I could spend on audiobooks and really make the most of that time. But that is not now. Now, I got a little bit ahead of myself. I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing so well. I have got so many reward books waiting to be read. I'm going to put some requests in at the library for Christmas books. So I went and I looked and I could to see what I could get quickly, because I was not doing this in October. I was doing this in like week 2 of December. So I needed stuff that was going to arrive in like week 3, before the library closed for Christmas, basically. So I had a look, and what I managed to get is Trisha Ashley, A Winter's Tale, which I think is one of her earliest books, her first Christmas book. Make My Wish Come True by Rachael, Lippincott and Alyson Derrick. This is an American one, I believe. And I think so is In the Event of Love by Courtney K. Already on my TBR as a physical book, I had Always in December by Emily Stone. And then while I was at Nick's mum's, she gave me a copy of The Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Colgan that she was done with. So yeah, that's a lot. And then I have a couple of audiobooks. I started listening to The 12 Dates of Christmas by Jenny Bayliss because I never got around to it before. And now there is a Hallmark series which is be picked up by ITV, so can be watched on ITVX, that I really want to get to. Ideally before the end of Christmas, but who knows whether this will actually happen. And I also have on Libby, what is it that I've got on Libby? Have a look. The Christmas Project by Maxine Morrey, which I think was one of 2 Christmas books that I was planning to read on Libby, but I started listening to one and didn't like it, so I returned it. So I got out of that. I got out of that, so it's not as bad as it could have been. So yeah, just cross your fingers, believe in me. Obviously this is happening in the past when you're watching this. This is like 2 months old, but hope for me that I do in fact manage to read all of these books by the end of Christmas. If it rolls over into extended Christmas season, of course, Christmas used to run all the way up to the start of February. So if I end up having to spend January still reading Christmas books, I have done it practically every year since I got into Christmas books, so it'll be nothing new, but I remain hopeful that I can finish before then, because it is actually quite annoying carrying on doing that when I want to just get into like winter themed books. I am going to do a winter TBR, I think, after I've done all the Christmas stuff. It's going to be quite short because I don't actually have that many wintry books, but I am not worried about that because short is what I need, because my spooky one was massive and I did not get anywhere near finishing that. I had ambitious dreams and they did not come to fruition. So yeah, there we go. All right, I'm going to stop now and let you know how I get on the rest of the day tomorrow. Hello, it's time for my final update. December is over. January has begun and I managed to finish one more book in December, one more book in 2025, one more book in month 30 of my TBR Zero project, and that was Hans and Rebels. I found the ending of this so emotional. So I mean, it's a memoir, so it's not really a spoiler, but if you don't want to hear about the ending of this, maybe skip ahead 2 minutes. But essentially this follows her kind of childhood upbringing and then her period of being married to her first husband, who dies in the Second World War. I knew about this going in, and also there's a point where she says, you know, she references the fact that he'll be dead in a few months, I think, and like really brought it home. And the last chunk of this book is really kind of a memorializing of him. It's really like devoted to communicating the full force of his personality, and he's not always like the best person. He is a bit of a schemer and a gambler, and they basically go around like kind of trying to take advantage of rich Americans in order to live off them, but at the same time he has this very like strong sort of moral center, and that's why he goes off to fight rather than trying to hide out in America and avoid it. And yeah, just who he was and his personality is just captured so incredibly well on these pages. Like, I feel like that for me makes the book, rather than kind of, I think a lot of like the promotional material I saw around this book, particularly the blurb, kind of focuses on her family, but I actually think it's her marriage which is the most interesting point of this book. You know, it is tragic, you know it's not going to end well, and that she's very young and he's very young as well, and they're very naive and just sort of going around living their lives and there's something really compelling about them as personalities, but it's all going to end in the worst possible way. And yeah, it's really haunting and dark in that way. So yeah, really enjoyed this. Really powerful memoir. Very interesting. Recommend. Time for the tally. So this month I read 1 library print book, 1 NetGalley ebook, 1 NetGalley audiobook, 1 audiobook from Spotify, and I read 6 books from my TBR. And here they are. Got them ready to take my thumbnail picture. For Christmas and otherwise during the month, I got 6 books. And I also DNF'd 1 book, which means that, to my utter shock and surprise, I managed to reduce my TBR in December. Who does that? Has anyone ever done that in the history of the world before? I've certainly never done that in the history of the world before. Now, I did kind of plan to not have my TBR increase by that much this month by mainly asking for cookbooks and craft books for Christmas. I only asked for a few books that would then become part of my TBR. I think I only got 1 fiction book and 2 non-fiction books for Christmas, and then there were some others that I got given and my Illumicrate order came through. So I was restrained with what I asked for, but still, I wasn't expecting I wasn't expecting to read that much and to actually reduce it. I mean, it all hinges on that 1 DNF really, but yeah, I'm still really proud. Please tell me in the comments that you are proud and that I've done well, so I can have that little ego boost. Please also let me know if you are doing a TBR Zero project and where I can find out more about that if you are documenting it online. You will see me again soon. Bye!